A hidden military base buried under 100 feet of ice in Greenland has just been uncovered, and it was never supposed to be found. A NASA team scanning the frozen ground thought they were just mapping ice, but their radar revealed something shocking beneath the surface. What they had discovered was Camp Century, a Cold War military site once kept hidden from the world. But why was this base built, and what exactly was hidden inside before it was abandoned? Tune in, because the truth about this forgotten base is so chilling, it made the president shut down the whole state for a month. It was built in the late 1950s, a time when the world was on edge. Nuclear war was a real fear, and the US was looking for ways to stay ahead of the Soviet Union. But here's where things get even stranger. This base wasn't just some underground bunker. It was an entire city hidden beneath the ice, designed for something much bigger. Before we go any further, it's clear that what was really happening beneath the ice was far more dangerous than anyone ever knew. And this is just the beginning of the shocking truth. Camp Century was originally built as part of Project Iceworm, a top confidential plan to construct a network of missile launch sites beneath the Greenland ice sheet. The idea was to have nuclear weapons positioned close enough to strike the Soviet Union at a moment's notice, all while staying completely undetectable. But there was a problem, one that the US didn't quite account for. The ice wasn't as stable as they had hoped. It shifted and moved, making the base impossible to maintain. By the late 1960s, Camp Century was abandoned, left to be swallowed up by the ice, supposedly lost forever. That is, until now. NASA's latest scans revealed something chilling. Entire structures still intact, perfectly preserved beneath the frozen surface. This wasn't just some old ruins. The radar picked up tunnels, living quarters, and even signs of the nuclear reactor that once powered the facility. And this raises a big question. If the US was willing to bury something like this, what else have they hidden? More importantly, what might still be down there? Beyond the abandoned structures, there's another problem no one really talks about. When Camp Century was left behind, it wasn't just buildings that got buried. Nuclear waste, toxic chemicals, and even biological materials were all sealed under the ice. For decades, people assumed the ice would keep it locked away. But with rising global temperatures and Arctic ice melting faster than ever, that assumption is starting to fall apart. Scientists now fear that dangerous materials could start seeping into the environment, creating a whole new crisis that no one is prepared for. And if that happens, who takes responsibility? The US military? The Danish government, since Greenland is technically part of Denmark? Or will it just be another disaster everyone tries to ignore until it's too late? What makes this discovery even more suspicious is the timing. NASA claims they found Camp Century by accident, but how believable is that? It's hard to imagine they just happened to fly over the exact location of a long-lost Cold War base and accidentally picked it up on radar. Some believe this could be a carefully planned reveal, a way to slowly bring attention to something much bigger lurking beneath the ice. Could there be more hidden bases? Confidential operations still running under the radar? And if so, who is in charge of them now? This isn't just about the past. The Arctic is a hotbed of military activity even today. The US, Russia, and even China are all vying for control of this icy wasteland, setting up bases, running confidential projects, and keeping things quiet from the public. If Camp Century was just one part of a bigger plan, what else might be hidden out there? And with so much focus on space exploration, is it possible that the real things aren't out there in the stars but buried right here on Earth, in places we're not supposed to look? One thing is certain, this discovery is just the tip of the iceberg, both literally and figuratively. Camp Century was meant to be lost forever, but now that it's back in the spotlight, it opens the door to a whole new set of questions. What else has been buried beneath the ice? What other Cold War relics might still be hidden, waiting to be uncovered? And most importantly, Who's making sure these long-forgotten experiments don't come back to haunt us? The frozen base of Camp Century shows that governments don't just hide mistakes, they hide entire projects. Meanwhile, somewhere deep beneath the rocky terrain in Iran, hidden away from prying eyes, another military base has been uncovered. It's a massive underground air base built to keep advanced fighter jets, bombers and drones completely out of sight. They call it OGAB 44, and the world only found out about it in February of 2023. But let's be real, this thing didn't just pop up overnight. Iran has been working in the shadows, putting together a base so secretive that most people had no clue it even existed. What exactly is going on down there? This place is built like a fortress. It's got everything needed to keep warplanes hidden and ready. Massive hangars, repair shops, command centers, fuel storage, and even high-tech navigation systems. The whole setup is designed to protect aircraft from enemy attacks and give them the power to strike at faraway targets whenever necessary. But here's the thing. Why is a country like Iran, already under so much scrutiny, investing in a base like this? It's not just about defense. This is about expanding reach, flexing military muscle, and making sure the world knows they have weapons that can hit hard and fast. And with long-range missiles tucked inside this underground lair, the stakes just got a lot higher. Iran claims that OGAB 44 is a hybrid base, meaning it can handle both drones and piloted fighter jets. That alone should raise eyebrows. Drones have been changing modern warfare, allowing attacks without putting human pilots at risk. With this base, Iran now has a hidden location where it can prepare drone missions without anyone noticing. If that doesn't scream covert operations, what does? And let's not forget, the number 44 isn't just random. It marks the anniversary of the Iranian Revolution. This airbase isn't just about military strategy, it's about sending a message. Military experts believe underground bases like this one give Iran a major advantage. Enemy satellites can't easily spot what's going on beneath tons of rock. These confidential facilities also make airstrikes against Iran's air force a lot harder to pull off. If jets are stored underground, how do you take them out before they're airborne? The whole design is built to keep Iran's fleet safe and ready to launch an attack whenever necessary. That's a serious problem for anyone keeping an eye on the country's military actions. There's also the question of what kind of weapons are really being stored here. The Iranian government has boasted about equipping their aircraft with electronic warfare systems and powerful missiles like Yasin, Qaem, and Asef. These aren't just standard bombs. These are weapons that could extend Iran's reach far beyond its borders. That means this airbase isn't just a bunker for hiding planes. It's a launch pad for long-range missions. Who or what is in their sights? Another thing to consider is why Iran decided to unveil this base now. The timing isn't random. With tensions rising in the region and international pressure mounting, showing off a high-tech underground base is a way of proving strength. It's a reminder that Iran isn't backing down, and it's willing to take steps to protect itself, no matter what. But unveiling it also brings risks. The world now knows about OGAB 44. And if the world knows, so do potential enemies. If this base is ever targeted, will it really hold up against a major attack? The secrecy surrounding this project is what makes it even more concerning. If this is just one base that has been revealed, how many others are still out there, completely unknown? Military analysts believe that Iran has several hidden facilities designed for similar purposes. If one underground airbase is capable of housing bombers and advanced drones, imagine what a network of them could do. It's not just about defending the country, it's about positioning for something bigger. What's the long-term plan here? Satellite images and intelligence reports have been trying to piece together how long this facility has actually been operational. Governments around the world are scrambling to understand just how deep Iran's underground operations go. The problem is, without solid proof of what's happening inside, it's all speculation. But here's what we do know. Countries don't build bases like this unless they have something to hide. And whatever Iran is keeping underground, it's something they don't want the world to see. History has shown that hidden military projects are almost never just for defense. They usually mean offensive plans, new technology being developed, or operations that need to stay under the radar. It's no different with Oghab 44. If Iran just wanted a safe place to store jets, they could have built a standard airbase. Instead, they dug into the ground, away from the public eye, in a move that suggests something far more strategic. Is this base just the beginning of something even bigger? Governments and intelligence agencies will keep monitoring, trying to figure out what Iran's true intentions are. But the fact remains, Oghab 44 exists, and it wasn't built for show. Iran made sure to design it in a way that makes direct attacks difficult, all while allowing military planes and drones to operate freely. This is a game of strategy, and Iran just made a major move. The only question now is, who is paying attention, and what will they do next? If Iran could keep a confidential airbase hidden for years, imagine what else might be out there. Let's talk about Area 51, the most secretive piece of land in the Nevada desert. Officially, it's just a military base, a testing ground for aircraft and technology. But let's be honest, does that explanation really hold up? Why does the government treat it like the ultimate off-limits zone, with guards ready to stop anyone who gets too close? People have been whispering about this place for decades, and when you start digging into the details, things get strange fast. Back in the mid-1950s, the Cold War was heating up, and the United States needed a remote, controlled environment to test their most advanced planes. That's when they picked a barren patch of land near Groom Lake and made it a no-go zone. The Lockheed U-2 spy plane was one of the first major projects here, flying higher than any other aircraft at the time. But even then, people started spotting strange lights in the sky. Were they seeing top confidential aircraft, or something else entirely? That's where the speculation begins. As the years went by, the base became even more locked down. They tested planes like the A-12 Oxcart, a machine so fast it made ordinary jets look like toys. The legendary SR-71 Blackbird, a plane that could outrun missiles, also got its start here. Then came the F-117 Nighthawk, the first true stealth fighter. Every one of these machines was groundbreaking, but the government didn't exactly rush to explain what was going on behind those barbed wire fences. And whenever someone spotted a test flight, the official story always seemed to be nothing to see here. And then in the late 1980s, Robert Lazar entered the picture. He claimed he worked in a hidden site near Area 51 called S4, where he said the government wasn't just testing new planes. They were reverse engineering alien spacecraft. According to him, they had multiple flying saucers powered by an element that didn't even exist on Earth at the time. Wild claim, right? But the way the government reacted made things even weirder. They tried to erase any record of his education and employment history, making it look like he never existed. Why go to all that trouble if he was just making things up? For decades, the United States government acted like Area 51 wasn't even real. If someone asked about it, the response was either silence or a quick denial. Then, out of nowhere, in 2013, the Central Intelligence Agency finally admitted it was a real place. They declassified some documents saying, "Oh yeah, we've been testing aircraft there since the 50s. But they still refused to discuss what's actually happening there today. Funny how that works. Security at the base is no joke. If you try to get too close, you'll run into warning signs, security patrols, and cameras watching every move. The airspace above it is completely restricted, and any plane that wanders in without permission is met with immediate military response. The employees, they don't drive in like normal people. They take special flights from a private terminal in Las Vegas on unmarked planes. All of this just to test aircraft? Seems a little extreme. And let's not forget the bizarre stories coming from people who've worked around the area. Over the years, there have been accounts of strange lights, unexplained technology, and even rumors of underground tunnels connecting different hidden facilities. Some believe the government is hiding something far bigger than new military jets, maybe technology that could change the world. The real question is, if any of this were true, would we ever actually find out? In 2019, the internet decided to have some fun with all the speculation. A joke event popped up on Facebook called Storm Area 51, They Can't Stop All of Us. The idea? Get enough people together and rush the gates, forcing the truth into the open. It was meant to be funny, but thousands took it seriously. The government, unsurprisingly, did not. They quickly reminded everyone that trespassing on a military base isn't just illegal, it's dangerous. In the end, only a handful of people actually showed up, and no one got past security. But the fact that so many were willing to try says a lot about how much people want answers. People have wondered for years what really happens at Area 51, but hidden bases aren't just in the Nevada desert. China funded it, China built it, and now China seems to own it. Fresh satellite images are exposing what many suspected all along. Chinese warships are settling in at Cambodia's so-called gifted naval base. What was once portrayed as a friendly gesture has turned into a strategic power move that few are willing to admit outright. The heart of this military expansion, a massive, almost 1,000 feet pier, capable of docking Beijing's largest and most powerful aircraft carriers. But that's not all. The construction site is buzzing with activity. Dry docks, wharves, new buildings, barracks, and command centers are rising fast. The scale of this operation is far beyond what Cambodia could ever need. After all, its navy is modest at best, with no warships anywhere close to matching this infrastructure. So why build something this big? The answer is as clear as day, even if officials refuse to acknowledge it. Satellite images don't lie. Over the past year, Chinese warships have made themselves right at home, docking and patrolling as if they own the place. This isn't just a supply stop or a training ground. This is a foothold, a strategic grip on one of the most crucial waterways in the world. China's military presence here isn't just about showing off, it's about control. And control is exactly what Beijing has been after. This so-called naval expansion fits neatly into China's growing ambitions in the South China Sea. For years, it has been pushing its arbitrary 10-line claim, trying to seize waters far beyond its rightful borders. With this base, China is no longer just expanding its influence. It's setting up a military stronghold at the southern edge of the disputed territory. A move that raises serious alarms for Cambodia's neighbors and, of course, the United States. Why? Because this location isn't just another port. It's dangerously close to Singapore and the Malacca Strait, one of the world's most critical shipping routes. This narrow passage connects the Indian and Pacific Oceans, serving as a lifeline for global trade. It also supplies China with oil from the Middle East. And now, with a naval base planted right at the doorstep, Beijing can monitor and, if necessary, disrupt this crucial corridor. The implications are massive. Yet, despite the mounting evidence, Cambodian officials continue to play dumb. Just last week, the country's deputy prime minister tried once again to brush off concerns, denying that China had any special access or control over the base. But how many times have we heard that before? The pictures tell a different story. The warships, the military buildings, the pier, all of it suggests that Cambodia isn't just a bystander in this game. It's a willing participant. For years, Beijing has used economic deals to gain influence over smaller nations. Billions in infrastructure projects, generous investments, and no-strings-attached loans, all of it designed to build loyalty. But these deals often come with hidden costs. In this case, the price might just be Cambodia's sovereignty. What happens when a country relies too much on another's funding? It loses the ability to say no. And this isn't the first time China has been caught playing this game. Across the world, we've seen the same pattern unfold. Ports in Sri Lanka, military outposts in Africa, deep economic ties in South America. The script doesn't change, only the location. Cambodia may be the latest player in this strategy, but it won't be the last. The US and its allies aren't taking this lightly. Washington has been vocal about its concerns, warning Cambodia about the risks of cozying up to Beijing. Diplomatic talks, intelligence briefings, even veiled threats of sanctions. It's all been put on the table. But will it make a difference? So far, Cambodia's leadership is sticking to the official narrative. Nothing to see here. But the facts are impossible to ignore. A high-tech military base built by China, a massive pier perfectly suited for Beijing's warships, a strategically positioned outpost near one of the world's most important shipping lanes, and Chinese military vessels making themselves at home despite repeated denials. This isn't just an economic partnership. This is a power play, and it's one the world needs to wake up to before it's too late. There's one thing history has taught us. When a superpower secures a military foothold, it rarely leaves willingly. The question now isn't whether China has a permanent presence in Cambodia, it's how far it will go to protect and expand it. And more importantly, what will the world do about it? Is Camp Century just an abandoned Cold War base? Or was something far more confidential buried beneath the ice? Tell us what you think, and remember to like and subscribe for more.